Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game featuring Wingspan. My name is Christine, and in this video I will give you a brief outline of the gameplay, and then I will share a few things I liked and disliked about the game so you can decide if you should buy Wingspan. You are bird enthusiasts, researchers, bird watchers, ornithologists, and collectors seeking to discover and attract the best birds to your network of wildlife preserves. So I'm going to start by showing you the actions you can take when playing Wingspan. You have these little cubes, and these are your how many turns you have left. And so you take your cube on this first row, and on this row we are going to get food. So you get 2 dice in this part here. We come over here and decide we want the wheat and we want the snake or worm or whatever it is. Worm, I guess. Birds eat worms. And then I like to put the food directly onto my birds that need it. So you can see here, this bird wants either the wheat or the worm. This bird wants a cherry or wheat or worm. And this bird wants a wheat plus a worm. So they all vary on what they want. Now that I activated that, I can continue across the row. So this bird says, when activated, all players lay an egg on this type of nest. So we can take one of our eggs and put it on our nest. And then it says, you may lay 1 egg on additional nest bird, a bird with that nest. And down below in the water, we happen to have another bird with that same type of nest. So we can lay an egg on that bird. We move over to the next one. When activated, tuck a card from your hand behind this bird. If you do, draw 1 card. So we have a card that we're not going to be using, so we can tuck it down, and at the end of the game, that card is worth 1 point. And then we can come over here from our 170 card deck and decide to pick a bird that's shown or one from the deck. We will just take this bird and it gets replaced. Now, while we're looking at the cards, I should just tell you a bit about them. This here will tell you what area the bird wants to be in, so that's the water, what food they want, how many points, the type of nest, how many eggs can sit on this bird, so you can't have more than 2 birds sitting there. Then it talks about what to do when activated, and then gives you a little information about the bird. It has the name at the top, of course. And here it tells you the size of the bird, which comes into effect for some of the cards you might activate. Once you get your card, you move your little cube over there and you are completed your turn. The next person goes, and then when it's your turn again, you take another cube, and this time we're going to do this row with the eggs. So your instant activation here is to get 2 eggs. We come up, the color doesn't mean anything, it just makes them pretty. And you can put them on any bird. I'll put this one here to show you it has 3 eggs, and so it cannot have more eggs on it. This one has 2 already, so I'll put it here because he can still have a couple more eggs. Then we move over here, and this one says, when activated, lay 1 egg on any bird. So I'll just grab another egg, and I will put him on this cute bird. And we put it here, and that turn is complete. The next player goes, it's your turn again. This time we're going to do the cards. So we automatically get 2 cards. Again, you can pick from the cards that are here. I'll just pick these 2 cards, then replace them. Or if you didn't like any of these, you can pick directly from the pile. I'll put those over in with our cards. So then we look at the bird, and it's when we move this over. When activated, draw 2 cards. If you do, discard 1 from your hand at the end of your turn. So we can take these 2 cards, and we can decide, do we want this card? Maybe we like those 2 cards, but we didn't like one already in our hand. That's the one we could discard and keep the 2 new cards. Then we move to this one. So this one says, when activated, roll the dice not in the bird feeder. If any are mice, cache 1 mouse on this bird. So you have your 2 dice here, and we're looking for that mouse. And I did not get a mouse. If you did get one and you were able to cash it, it would be worth 1 point at the end of the game. And then you move over and your turn is done. Now to place a card, we put our little cube up top. And in this row, it cost 1 egg to place. And as you go, it's 1 egg, 2 eggs, 2 eggs. The first row doesn't cost any eggs. So we have many eggs. You can take it off any bird you would like. And I can choose a card. So I'm going to choose this card. So I have to pay the food. It is the worm and 2 wheat, which I have. And I put that back in the supply and I can play this card. And it goes into the field with the field symbol. Now this one is when played, draw 2 bonus cards and keep 1. So I'm going to replace that. So I will draw 2 cards and we will look at it and maybe be like, oh, this guy here doesn't need any food. I might keep him and put that one away. Now that only happens when played. So later on, when we activate this card again, you will not receive any of that bonus. At the end of the round, there's little bonuses here. So we had like birds in the forest area, eggs in a certain nest, birds in the water area, and then the total birds. These are double-sided and can change from game to game. And then there's also bonus cards you can get, such as birds that eat only the worms, birds that can only live in the fields, birds that have at least 1 egg laid on them, and you get different points depending how many birds have the different amounts of eggs, birds with that type of nest, birds worth less than 4 points, and birds with wingspan 30 centimeters or less. So that's where I had showed you on that one card, whereas this bird is 23 centimeters, he'd be counted for a point. And that's the basics on how you would play Wingspan. So Wingspan was one of the first games that we purchased, but we still really love this game. Even though we've played so many other games, I still come back to this game. I find it very relaxing to play. You're basically playing your own game, and the only real interference might come into effect when you're trying to get food. With the 5 dice available, somebody may take the food you want, or the food may not be there. The art of the game is very pretty, and I like the mechanics of you choosing like which row you want to go in. Are we looking for food? Are we looking for eggs? Are we looking for more cards because we've placed them all? So it's just a really nice, relaxing game. There are 3 expansions which give you more bird cards. There's the Asia, Oceania, and Europe. Plus there is a fan art deck that replaces some cards that you already have with cards made by fans in different art forms. So there's only a couple things that we may dislike about the game. One would be we wish you had more turns, because after every round, as I showed you, you can get bonus points. Well, by doing that, you're actually losing. You have 1 less turn for your next round. And we find that we don't fill the board as much as we want with birds. So I wish that maybe there'd be another round or an extra cube for an extra play. And then the other thing would be, as I mentioned, trying to get the food combinations sometimes can be difficult as you're waiting for the die to come up with the food that you really want. So overall, I love Wingspan and would recommend it for most players. It's great for all levels of gameplay. And so leave me a comment letting me know if you've played it, if you owned it, do you have the expansions, which expansions you might recommend to others, and what you think of Wingspan.